when we do the milling process, we have like the leftovers. What we're doing is we're taking it back to the land. So we use it as fertilizer. So like everything is part of the same ecosystem. The water supply is very important in the flavors of tequila. We have our own aquifer. We use our own water. So everything is part of an ecosystem that we're trying to do.
Welcome to Austinpreneur, our show about the stories that made Austin, Texas, a global hub for startups. The show is produced by Capital Factory and hosted by me, Nick Spiller. As a reminder, by joining Capital Factory, you can plug into the ecosystem where the stories on this show were set. Learn more about us at capitalfactory.com.
Welcome back to the Capital Factory podcast, where we talk about the innovation happening here at the Center of Gravity for Entrepreneurs. Our guest today is the CEO and co-founder of Humano Tequila, single estate, additive-free tequila brand sourcing from over 1,200 acres in the highlands of Jalisco. Did I say that right?
Yes.
Jalisco, Mexico. He brings more than 18 years experience launching spirits brands, building strategic partnerships across distilleries, packaging, distribution, and marketing. Under his leadership, Humano focuses both on tradition and innovation, hand-harvested agave, proprietary yeast, artisan distillation, plus tech-enabled productivity and supply chain transparency. Today, we'll explore how tech is impacting everything from agave forming to fermentation to digital storytelling behind premium spirits, and what that means for a brand rooted in heritage, yet built for the future. In other words, we're excited to welcome Luis from Humano Tequila to the Capital Factory podcast. Welcome, Luis.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Oh, excellent. All right. And we actually do have a little, let's pass them around. And if you pass them around, and then if you take one, I'll fill you up. So we're going to just go ahead and not skip this. All right, excellent. I'm gonna just default to the Reposado. This is the nice one, right?
I love it. That's my favorite.
This is the favorite. It's my favorite too. So please enjoy. Let's go. We got a couple back here. Thank you, Aaron, for finding these. Do you have one? Do you need one?
No, I'm good.
You need one.
I'm not drinking.
You're not? All right. I'm not gonna. Pick your poison. All right. Well, now that we got that out of the way, the most important piece, let's dive in. You and I met through a gentleman named Chris Seals.
Yes.
Who's the CEO of Still Austin, which is an incredible Austin-based bourbon brand that's here. You worked for Chris, I think helped launch Still in the early days. What did you learn with Chris and Still that you're using today at Humano?
Well, for sure. Chris, first of all, thank you for having me here. I'm a big fan of your podcast.
Thank you.
Yes, so Chris Seals is a very good friend of mine. I had the opportunity to work with him when Still Austin whiskey was a dream, as he called it, a guy in the chart. And we took it from concept to flagship product. He's a mentor for me, and he was a big inspiration for me to get going with my dream project, which is Humano Tequila.
Humano, incredible. And you can listen to Chris's story on the podcast. It's called The Art of Texas Whiskey, one of my favorite recordings that we've done. So yeah, circling back, those days, bringing the dream to life, it's Still, what were some of the hard lessons you learned there as an entrepreneur launching a spirit brand?
I mean, really, just launching any spirit brand is very complicated. What is the majority of the spirit brands that launch, they end running out of gas. So it's a tough proposition. With Still Austin, I had the opportunity to learn a lot of the basics from them. What was to create products with authenticity, products that with the flavors of your region, products that are from dirt to glass, making sure that you're putting together the best quality on the spirit that you're producing, and focusing your community. So a lot of that has been translated into Humano as well. We also work with our farmers. Like that's big focus of what we wanted to do. It's a community effort with our farmers, with our agaveros, with our distillers. So it's a whole community effort, making sure that we produce our raw material, which in this case is the agaves, right? So a lot of similarities, I guess, in the concept.
Yeah, and it's one thing to create a beautiful bottle, which you have, and Chris's great packaging and art on his, and you could it's a little different for Humano, but for still, it's like if you create a Texas anything, people from Texas will buy it, even if it's not as good as the alternatives. That's the great thing about Texas. But what I know about Still and Humano is that it's actually a really good spirit, and you can put the spirit in the hands of people that have tried all of the best, judge at the competitions, and they'll say this is clean. I've seen it. We had a restaurant group here. I was actually just in that room, and the director of operations tasted Humano tequila, and it's immediately just you kind of tell the reaction you get out of someone when it's authentic reaction, and he looks at the head chef. He's like, "That's the cleanest shit I've ever tasted." So yeah, like how does that happen? Particularly, what kind of technology techniques that are unique to Humano that really bring such a crisp product to the table?
Well, I guess for us, it's like taking care of quality from dirt to glass. Like there are a lot of tequila brands, and a lot of times their goal is to make as much tequila as fast as possible. For us, is to make the cleanest tequila that we can produce. It takes longer in a lot of the steps, as we are also innovating in some of the steps as well that I will share with you. But for us, it's not about how fast we can produce tequila. It's about how can we produce the best tequila that we can produce.
Quality over quantity.
That's right, and it's very important for us. Like it's a very good mix what we have in our group at the distillery, because we absolutely believe on technology and innovation, and we are innovating in certain areas, which I will share with you, but also maintaining our maintaining how we used to do things back in the day, maintaining the essence of tequila. So it's a very, very interesting mix of the way we're doing it.
Right, preserving the tradition while
tradition and technology, 100%.
Innovating along the way to produce an even better outcome.
Correct.
And so what are some of the innovations you're implementing?
So, well, I mean, number one, like I guess one of the key for our product is we don't buy agaves, we grow them, right? So a lot of people these days, they ask you like, well, if a tequila is additive free, does that mean that it's good quality or high quality? And yes, it is very important. We are additive free, 100%. But for us is, where do you get your raw material? That's the most important thing to me. For us, everything comes from the same region. The way we treat our soil first, the way we grow our agaves, all the plants come from the same DNA of agave plants. So there you already have certain consistency. When you mass produce and you don't own your own agave plant, you just need to buy it from the free market. And you don't know sometimes the age of the plant, how it was cutted, the level of sugars. Like the plants, a lot of people ask on the age, like how long would it take? And the answer is, for us, it takes about an average of 7 years. But it's not necessarily about the age of the plant. It's about the level of sugars. And just to give you some perspective on the actual plant, like the way we measure sugars, typically when you buy agaves, it will be sometime between 18 to 20, 18 to 22 ART. For us, typically it's anywhere between 24 to 30. So we make sure that we hand select the agave pineapples that are like highly in sugar. That's the step number one.
High sugar agave, and you're growing this yourself, so you
Correct.
have complete control over that.
Exactly.
process.
Like we, for instance, one like some of the key things that we typically don't talk about, but it's like what type of trees do you plant around it? Like for us, we have a lot of citrusy trees, oranges, limes, etc. So all of that influence the soil when you're growing your agaves. Another very important when we say like we're innovators, we feel like we're innovators. Like one of them is a process when you hand select your agaves and you bring them from the ranch to the distillery. Typically, what happened is you cut and you cook. We added a process called agave wash, where, believe it or not, no one has done that before, but it kind of like makes sense. It's like the way we do it, like in the kitchen. You kind of like start with clean raw material. We're doing the same. So we take our agaves and we power wash them with water to take out impurities. So for instance, that's just an additional process that we came up with to make sure that nothing affects the flavors of our agaves.
You want clean outputs, have clean inputs.
Exactly.
Like, all right, so you're growing your agaves, you're hand picking them, washing them. Where does the process go from there?
So, like typically, you select where you wanna, how do you wanna cook your agave? Then there are different theories, like the old traditional way, which is like brick ovens, or if you wanna do like a little bit more fast and efficient, you use autoclaves, like pressure, which is much faster. What we know is that each one of them has different notes. So we wanted to use both. So we're using mainly brick, about 80% of our agaves or 90% of our agaves, and the rest on autoclave to use to have notes from both worlds. And then what we're doing is we blend the cooked agave in the milling process. So we start with complex juice before we even start fermenting. So that is kind of like uncommon. When you also want to do something that is artisanal, everything has to have a purpose. Like it's with a purpose. Like for instance, when we set the agaves into the big oven, you can just throw them. That will be faster, or you can place them in a way that our artisans they know it will cook in a different way. So, and there is a science behind the way we do things. Everything is very, very intentional.
Are these regular brick ovens or big brick ovens, or
They are
this is
pretty,
like
yeah, I would say like the size of the room.
size of this room, and then
Yeah.
wood fired? You just like
Yeah, and you have a flame that comes from the bottom, and it start like slowly cooking, and yeah.
As you describe the process for making tequila, I can't help but think about the process of smoking barbecue.
Exactly. Yes.
Do you know the commonality, the historical commonality? This would be a surprise if you got this, but between agave and smoked meat.
Well, I know the new common thing is drink barbecue with tequila.
That is right. You do them both. The end. It took some brain power to do that. There's different theories of how we evolved, but one leading theory is the agave, the water in agave is sugar water, right? And it's that sugar that gave us the mental capacity to consider advanced ideas and encouraged our prefrontal cortex to develop. Similar thing happens when you smoke meat. And you render the fat and it breaks down, you're able to digest it faster. And then that also helped us think about things like politics, making, technology, things like that. And I was told, I learned that when I was in Mexico on my own endeavors one time, and I just think it's one of the most fascinating things. The guy said it used to be agave plants larger than humans for as far as the eye could see.
Yeah.
We've slowly built them into our life.
True.
So which one of these innovations do you feel is most critical to flavor, or really, like where does the unique flavor of Humano come from? I can tell the difference when I taste it.
I think for us, again, like everything that we do is very intentional. Like another step that we do that is uncommon, we do closed fermentation as opposed to open fermentations. Like if you have gone to, because I don't know if anybody has gone to a tequila distillery before, but if you remember, like some of the fermentation tanks that are open, you can walk and see the bubbles. It's really cool to see it, but you have impurities, right? So nothing wrong with it. It's not our story. So we said for us, like big part of our philosophy is like, how can we make the cleanest tequila that we can produce? So we said like, let's make sure that nothing affects the flavors of our spirits. So we do closed fermentation as opposed to open fermentation. Another big ingredient is the yeast. Like how are you fermenting your agave? Typically you buy it. What we actually have a chemical engineer in-house that created a yeast specifically for the flavor profile that we were looking for. The distill that we have is also like custom made. Like it's a copper pot still, pretty large. Typically they have I don't know how to say in English, like serpentines,
Spiral?
Like spiral. There you go.
Yeah.
The way we have it is straight, and the reason is because we found, like for cleaning purposes, it helps us to keep it clean, and you don't get any aromas later on. So for us, like we do that, and plus we do a lot of the cuts. Like when you're massive producing, what you want is to have as much liquid as fast as possible. So sometimes you just take big batches, put it in. If it doesn't taste as great, you can add some additives and standardize it. What we're doing is we're using only the most premium juice that we produce. So our cuts are pretty heavy, right? We cut the heads and tails. We keep the most premium part of it, and we don't have additives. That's a big part of our secret. And the way we age and mature our tequila, it's also pretty unique. But I don't know if you have any questions.
Yeah, no, let's touch on that in the final piece of the production side, then we'll switch to more distribution, brand piece of it. So yeah, you age the...
Yeah, so like someone was asking me not too long ago, like, so if you could say like, you guys are masters of something, what would that be? And I think we're very good blenders. Like, and that's a huge inspiration from the bourbon world, like from Still Austin and what I learned with the team. We're very good blenders. So what we're translating some of those techniques into our aging process. Like for instance, the Reposado, what we do is we call it double barrel Reposado. So we take the Blanco and it goes simultaneously in 2 barrels, brand new American oak and bourbon barrel. Then we master blend. So you get notes from the brand new barrel, but also some of the sweetness from the whiskey barrel. And it's, I mean, our Reposado is, I think, is spectacular. We do the same thing with the Añejo, just longer. So it's similar tasting profile, just a little bit more complex, but very approachable. Like big part of our goal was like, we want to be artisanal, we want to be complex. We are a single state, but we want it to be approachable to people. Like, especially for the new tequila, the generation of tequila drinkers, we want to have something that if they drink it straight, you can actually enjoy it without the tequila faces.
As I am right now. I'm enjoying it very much. And so it sounds like you have this vertically integrated production process that's allowed you to take innovations and improvements at every step of the way and produce an incredibly clean tequila. How about on the distribution, the marketing side? Beautiful bottles, your website's incredible, but how do you view yourself as leveraging digital technology to get the story out there and build the Humano brand?
Yeah, I mean, I guess having a good product, good packaging at a good price, it's the step number one, right? So the next step is like, how are you actually going to sell it? And big part of our story is that we put together co-founders that have been in the industry for a long time, that we all share the same vision of creating a brand with a meaningful story. So that was very important for us. And then we have the right distributor partners. One of them is Southern Glazers, nationwide. We have some other states where they don't have presence, but we have tremendous partners like Fedway in New Jersey. We have Empire in Georgia, and very likely in Tennessee as well. So they have been tremendously helpful with us, like helping us to get the product out, helping us to share the story.
I imagine that's one of the questions that you get asked if you talk to a restaurant group: is who's your distributor?
Who's your distributor?
And having a reliable, well-known group like Southern Glazers is very, very helpful.
Exactly. So so we feel very solid, like with the foundation of controlling raw material production and a big distribution arm.
Right, and you've been selling a good bit. Where can you buy Humano today?
Well, I mean, through our website, nationwide, anyone can buy it. Humanotequila.com. A lot of the national retailers and local retailers, they carry our product. Sharing with you, I mean, we could not dream of better launch of Humano. Like, thankfully, the brand is going in the right direction. We have very ambitious goals of finish this year, crossing 10,000 cases, which it was a very ambitious goal. We are about to cross 12,000 cases now.
Wow. I mean, that's a lot for your first year.
For the first year that we where we are. And I just had a meeting last week with one of our investor partners. And I don't know if you're familiar with Nielsen report.
Of course.
With Nielsen, we had a report that shows that Humano Tequila is the fastest growing tequila in the last 12 months in case sales and revenue. So we can be happier.
The numbers speak for themselves. It's excellent. Well, hard work, well deserved, I'm sure. So what's next for Humano? What do you really see in the 12, 24 month horizon for growing this brand?
Keep working. I mean, we're gonna have to keep expanding our markets, going deeper into the states where we have distribution. Next year we have a few special editions coming up. One of them that is very special with a whiskey distillery partner that we know very well, and so it's gonna be our Texas edition. Can't wait to have that on the market.
And can't wait to have another podcast on that one.
Maybe
don't spill the beans, Luis.
I
You're
know.
getting very close here.
Maybe with both of us this time. And yeah, so we're gonna try to, like, the way I see our brand is kind of like, if everybody is going this direction, we'll try to go in a different direction, and we're gonna come up with special editions that are unusual, that are unique in certain ways, and hopefully people keep liking it.
Yeah. You're unique in our ecosystem here at Capital Factory, and how have you plugged into this place to grow your brand?
This is amazing. I mean, for us, as I said, like, community, and Capital Factory has been like incredibly supportive of Humano, and I'm looking forward to do even more collaborations with some of the owners here, some of the portfolio companies, We have one here that we really want to be the first one where we like innovate in tequila. We get certain environmental friendly, I guess, how would you call it? Awards or certification, carbon neutral certifications. So anyway, so we're trying to innovate in certain ways and create like this ecosystem with the portfolio brands.
Absolutely. And I know the whole team has loved working with you and your team. And I think every happy hour, which we host a lot of happy hours, we've got Humano flowing. And I think it's like half a dozen of our staff members display the bottles on their desk upstairs. And we're very proud to have Humano as our official tequila of Capital Factory.
Absolutely.
So only tequila we work with and that I ever see us working with. It's been fun.
Very good.
It's been fun. We're just getting started too. Who's got a question for Luis in the back?
Hi, my name is Sarah. I lived in Mexico many years. That's why I have the accent, even though I was born here. I did visit Tequila in Jalisco, and I was very impressed with the blue agave. Very impressive. Just like, driving through vineyards or driving through olive trees and all of that kind of stuff. It's amazing. Unfortunately, I see that there are brands popping up all over the place, and I kind of wonder when it's excellent for Mexico and obviously for the industry to have that much interest in tequila. But I also worry about the proliferation of brands, and I kind of wonder, is there enough production of agave to sustain the demand? Do we have to grow blue agave on the Muy, right, to sustain the demand in the country? What are the practices? The second question is, what are the practices to ensure that the soil continues to produce healthy agaves, right?
Well, great question. First of all, I have to say, for those who don't know this, in order to make tequila and to be named tequila, there is a denomination of origin. So the agave needs to be grown in certain regions. So even if we were able to grow agave in the moon, we couldn't call it tequila. We have to be in certain regions. But that's one of the main challenges. Like what we know about historically on agave is, there's like supply and demand, right? So it goes through their cycles. And fortunately for us, the destiny depends on us as far as raw material. We grow on agaves, and we have about almost 1,300 acres of agave fields, about 4 million plants on the ground. So thankfully we can grow as big as we want. And growing agaves, that's something that our partners in Mexico have been doing for 4 generations. So we have a very good forecast. When you go through our land, you see 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. So we have a very good forecast on how we grow the agave plants. For us, to grow healthy agaves, it's how you treat your soil. Sometimes we grow it, we extract the plant, you let the soil rest for a year or two before you start using it again. Let it rest. Sometimes I have visited a lot of different distilleries, different lands, and sometimes they look super pretty. They're spotless. Everybody has different theories. In our theory is, let's let the weeds grow, because it's part of the ecosystem of the natural way you grow agaves. So anyways, I can't speak for all the agave producers, but what I can tell you is that we're doing our part in maintaining our soil and making sure that we treat our plants the right way.
So what do you see as the biggest biological threat to the agave farming, and what sort of technologies are you using to predict and forecast these occurrences in the future?
Well, we have experts on every field that we have. So when we do tours at the distillery, like with our farmers, we actually spend a full day, and they tell you like how they're treating, like how they're preparing, right? But like for us is making sure that we use the least amount of pesticides to treat our plants, to, again, going back into what else are you planting around, making sure that we are creating ecosystems around this natural plant that grows. So that's really what we do. So there are a lot of trees that we plant around it, again, to create it. And I was speaking with reporters in Mexico on Sunday, and we talk about like the weeds. Like we let them be part of it because it interacts with the plants, and that's how we do it.
So I'm obviously very nerdy about the environmental side, and I love that you're talking about managing the soil well, and thought it was really cool to hear you talking about the orange trees and the lime trees growing nearby. But what I thought was really interesting, I would love to hear more about, was when you were talking about the cuts, which I don't know if everybody here knows about that, but like I nerded out in moonshiners for a long time in Western North Carolina, and they're doing their cuts. Yeah, that's right. They're just barely cutting the heads, barely cutting the tails. And you talked about really focusing on the hearts. And so I was curious a little bit more about that, like cut process and how y'all make your decisions, what to pull from a distillation.
On both, this cut happens 2 times. Like it happens when you extract the plant. Typically when you sell agave, you want to sell as heavier the pineapple, like they pay you by weight. When we use it for ourselves, we cut them as close to the pineapple, to the heart of the pineapple as possible, to only use the most premium part. So that's one. And then when you distill the spirits, if your goal is to create the most liquid, you cut it as tiny, right? But that's when you get some of the, I guess, the different ethanol notes on the spirit. So that's what we're really focusing on, and making sure that we cut it. And again, we have a group of experts, like on every step. That's what they do. So they make sure that we only use the most premium juice that we can use, and that's how we do it. And also, like I just something that just came to my mind, when we do the milling process, we have like the leftovers. What we're doing is we're taking it back to the land. So we use it as fertilizer. So like everything is part of the same ecosystem. The water supply is very important in the flavors of tequila. We have our own aquifer. We use our own water. So everything is part of an ecosystem that we're trying to build.
Please join me in thanking Luis for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Austinpreneur. Don't forget to check out capitalfactory.com to learn more about us and join our community. If you have thoughts about the show or ideas on how we can work together, reach out to me directly via email, nickspiller@capitalfactory.com. Shout out to the Capital Factory Dream Team for making this podcast possible, and special thanks to Aaron Handworker, who masterfully recorded and edited the show. Come back next week for a whole new episode.